Fulton Bay 4. Containment breach detected.
Guys, how is it going? I have just finished playing Dead Space 3 in co-op, and I thought I'd make a really quick video in which I summarize my thoughts and I give you guys a bit of a recommendation whether it's worth putting your time and money into this game. To be honest, I was very positively surprised. I bought this game on a sale. I don't think I paid more than £5 or £10 for it. It was rather cheap. I expected something that is quite close to the first two games, which I didn't like too much, I have to say. Dead Space 1 I couldn't play at all because the gameplay was so sluggish that I really got like nausea from it. It made me feel physically sick. And the second game I played about half and then I lost interest in it because I just felt that it was very repetitive and it wasn't really scary and it didn't deliver for me. By adding the co-op campaign to the third part, they really did the right thing, I feel. It adds a layer to the game that just makes it so much more engaging and immersive, and you keep coming back to it because either it's you or it's your friend who's like, oh, we should finish that game off, and it just keeps you going all the time. So that is really good, an amazing element right there. On a technical side, the campaign works very well. The co-op side of it, you know, there's no problem logging onto each other's games. There's no drop in or drop out. That is a bit of a shame. However, when you're in a lobby and you try to play the game and set it up, it works very well. The full campaign is co-op playable, and that for us was 21 hours of real fun, I have to say. The game is an Origin game, so you and your colleague will need an Origin account to play it together. However, that is kind of the only downside to it. Everything else worked really well. It runs really smooth. You know, there are no lags. None of the two players get kicked out of the game for no reason, as you see it sometimes in other co-op games. The game itself offers a lot of variety, I found, compared to the previous games where it all seemed to kind of come from one thought or from one scenario. Here you have a broad variety of different gameplay elements, like you have action and horror elements, you have puzzles, you have space flight scenes and zero gravity. There are repelling sections where you rope yourself up and down some surfaces. There are quite a few puzzles that you have to crack, which are not too difficult, but they really do bring a bit of diversity to the gameplay. Some of the puzzles have to be solved together with your partner, or you give it a go and then your partner gives it a go, and you can see, you know, who can actually crack the puzzle. So that's quite fun. So there are lots of different gameplay mechanics that keep the gameplay itself quite diverse, and it stays quite fun, I found. Also, what was a problem for me in the previous two games, there was a lack of just different scenarios and worlds to play in. It was always kind of the space station and it all looked kind of the same. Here they did bring quite a bit of variety to it. There's the ice planet, there are space stations, like I said, you can fly through space itself, and there are a few more. I don't want to spoil it to you guys, so you're gonna have to play it for yourself. But there is a lot of variety in the scenarios and in the actual elements of the world that you're playing in. So that's a really positive of it. You can craft, so there are actually a few RPG elements nearly. I wouldn't call this game an RPG, obviously. It's a third-person horror shooter survival thing, but you can craft your own weapons, you can upgrade your suits. However, one thing you have to mention there is that they do have quite tough DLC politics, in the sense that you have to buy certain parts to really get upgrades to your weapons and craft your own weapons early on. The later you are in the game, however, then you can create your own weapons, just because you simply need to collect so many items, and you know, you need 1,000 scrap metal to build a gun and things like that. So that was a bit annoying for me. However, it worked really well, and I was all the time happy because the DLC mechanic is not that you do need the weapons and you don't need the DLCs. You can easily play it without any of that. It just makes it a bit easier for you to get through the game. Compared to the previous games, it is a bit more narrative driven. Just remembering when I played Dead Space 1 or 2, there seemed to be nearly no narrative there, or at least I didn't gasp it. You just go from room to room and there are loads of weird xenomorphs, or however they call them, and you know, it just gets very repetitive after a while. In this game you have to find your girlfriend, which is called Ellie. You have this evil villain who is trying to take you down and trying to stop you from doing what you do. You have your partner, whose name is Carver, and all these kind of elements come together to give it a bit more of a story-driven element. However, it's still not very memorable. These characters are not fleshed out very well. They are not fleshed out in very much detail. And it's not a lot of fun, and it doesn't add too much to the game. However, I have to say it is a bit of an improvement from the previous games. So it also ticks that box, and you can see the developers thought about it. So overall, let me just summarize what my feeling is. I think it is less scary than the previous games. It is also, because of the co-op element, just a little bit of less of a horror game as such, like a traditional horror game. But it marks an amazing ending to the franchise. I would say it is definitely the best Dead Space game that is out there, and that it has a co-op game is just an amazing incentive to keep playing the game, to invite your friends, maybe send a present copy to your friend and play it with them together. It's just a beautiful evolution from the previous games. They worked on the engine, it's more narrative driven, it has all these elements that were missing in the previous games, so altogether that makes it a much more satisfying experience, and I would definitely recommending to play the game if you have the time, if you want to put the money in it, and if you're looking for just another co-op game that you can put a bit of time into it. Let me know what you guys think. What was your thoughts? Did you play Dead Space 3? Did you have fun playing it? Or maybe did you even regret it? Leave me a comment in the comment section below. You can subscribe to my channel. You can leave me a like if you enjoyed the video or if it was a little bit helpful. I thank you guys very much for watching, and I see you guys next time. Bye.